Hi, good afternoon, guys. Amanda Decker at DMA Weight and Wellness, your nurse practitioner who's helping you figure out how to lose weight and live a healthier lifestyle. Today has been kind of a chaotic day in clinic, so I haven't had much time to prepare, but I wanted to continue our conversation on exercise and talk about the benefits of it. As I admitted last week, exercise is not my area of expertise. It's also an area that I tend to struggle with. I do really well for a little while, and then I do really not well for a little while. And during one part of my life, I'm doing more strength training, and one part I'm doing more cardio type exercise. So today we want to go through just the benefits, some of the main highlighted benefits of exercise. So there are two main types. You've got your aerobic exercise, and aerobic exercise, think of things that get your heart rate up. You're moving oxygen, you're moving blood around your body. So there's moderate aerobic exercise, which is like walking briskly, swimming, mowing the lawn, things that are going to get your heart rate up, but you're not quite getting to your peak heart rate. And then there's the vigorous type, which might be more like running or heavier swimming. So they're swimming like just kind of meandering around the pool. And then they're swimming like racing type swimming that is a lot more heavy yard work. So think that you're going, and your heart rate is getting up. So it's not just like pulling a few weeds in the garden, but you may be raking or shoveling, those type things. Dancing is as another great aerobic exercise. So aerobic, things that elevate heart rate, move blood around the body. And then there's strength training, which is more about building muscles and that type of thing. So those are the two types of exercise. So let's kind of dive in. And I found this article online about 10 benefits of exercise. And I thought that was a great place to start. So the first is that exercise can make you happier. And I've seen this in my life personally. You may have seen it in your life personally. You may have read some information about it. And I always just thought that that was because it raised the natural endorphins or the happy hormones, the things that move around. But it's much more than that. When I was reading this article, it's like, oh, this makes more sense. So exercise, because it's moving the blood around, including to your brain more, it's also making your brain healthier, and it's making your brain more sensitive to those endorphins and other hormones like serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, that are all the centers of those are in the center of the brain. And if you're more sensitive to them, you're going to be more responsive. So that means that you're going to feel this happiness at a much lower rate of these hormones just because that part of your brain is happier. So yes, exercise can make you happier, and it's more than just the endorphins. It's actually helping the sensitivity in your brain, which kind of brings me to another one that's coming up in a little bit, but it's about, your thinking, thought process, that kind of thing. The next one in this article is that exercise can help with weight loss, and that's a little deceiving. And if you've been to the clinic, you've watched my videos, you've talked, you've seen and heard that I feel the evidence is pretty clear that exercise is great at weight maintenance, and it is helping keep the weight off that you have already lost. So I use myself as the example. I go run for 3 miles, I burn 150 calories, and then I can eat that away right quickly. Well, they actually make that point too, that it's best for weight maintenance, helping you stay healthy, helping keep that weight off, that type thing. But they also take it a step further, which is, I think, something I don't emphasize enough, is they discuss that it makes your muscles more sensitive, more insulin sensitive, which means that you're not overproducing insulin more. And that, in a roundabout way, also increases your metabolism, which, as you're losing weight, it seems like your metabolism slows and you have to restrict a little bit more and a little bit more. Well, exercise is one way to combat that, and to make it to where you don't have to restrict as much if you exercise and stay healthy and keep those muscles healthy. Your muscles are your biggest organ group in your whole body. So it makes sense that if you keep them healthier, the rest of your body acts in accordance. Which is the next one that the article brings up, is it's good for your muscles and it's good for your bones. Well, when you're exercising, when you're running, especially with that aerobic exercise, but also when you're strength building, because you can feel it, you can feel the blood rushing to your skin. Have you ever gotten that flush sensation or that redness that comes to your skin from exercising? That's from blood rushing to your skin. Well, it's rushing into your muscles, and your muscles are getting all of that good oxygen-rich nutrition, basically, that they're not getting at the strong level when you're not exercising. It's also great for your bones, and this has been well established in the research, that when you're doing exercise, specifically weight bearing exercise, so think more like you're walking, you're jogging, you're running, You could potentially get some in biking, but less in biking and swimming, that there's not as much on the weight bearing. It encourages your bone to kind of break down and rebuild, absorb more of the calcium, and to get stronger. So exercise, especially the walking road and things like that, can help prevent something called osteoporosis, which as we age, it something that happens that can lead to hip fractures and frailty, things of that nature. The other thing that happens as we age is we lose muscle. So starting around the 40th decade, we tend to start losing muscle mass. And if you are routinely exercise, you slow down that muscle mass loss. And it is possible to even build muscle after the 40th decade of life, but you have to be very consistent on your protein intake, and you have to be very consistent on your exercise. And even short little bouts of incapacitation, like you break an arm, break a leg, and you're not moving so much, you can quickly move through your muscle mass. I saw that in one of our ladies that followed up. I don't remember if it was yesterday or today, but she had a broken leg, and she's like, Amanda, I am eating my protein. I am getting it in every day, but she still lost a higher portion of muscle in that visit than she did fat. And it's because she wasn't using the muscles, and she was above the age of 60. And so it was just a faster decline. So exercise helps to slow that decline. Also helps with things like stability. So you prevent falls and things that can be life altering the older that we get. So this next one is one that I feel like I talk about a lot in the clinic, and that's that exercise can increase your energy level. And this is a hard one because many times we're not exercising because we're tired. We're run down. The day has exhausted us. We've been going, our brain's been going, and we just feel run down and exhausted. But the thing is that if we actually push past and we go exercise, then we feel more invigorated. We feel more awake, and our energy levels, like our body wakes up. And why is that? It's because of that movement of oxygen. It's because you've exercised those lungs and forced more oxygen to your brain, so it wakes up, your muscles are waking up. And then over time, when you build that consistency of it, you find that your energy level builds, and you start to feel bad when you don't exercise. So even if your exercise is very short, doing that helps build your energy level. And even if you don't feel like it, it's worth putting the effort into it to build back that energy level, along with your good nutrition, which is a topic I'm going to cover in a couple of weeks about nutrition and exercise. So exercise reduces your risk of chronic disease. That was their fifth benefit. It specifically pointed out type 2 diabetes, heart disease, many types of cancer, high cholesterol, and hypertension. In my opinion, all of those go back to one common problem, which is insulin resistance. And many people feel like insulin resistance actually starts in the muscles because that is our biggest organ in our entire body. So they have a bigger burden for that insulin resistance. So when your muscles are not being used, they develop that insulin resistance. Your body overproduces insulin, and you start to develop these chronic conditions. Most of us think immediately of type 2 diabetes when we're talking about this, but oftentimes high blood pressure is the first sign of insulin resistance as far as a chronic disease. So type 2 diabetes, when you have good healthy muscles, they're using more glucose, they're pulling it out, and you're not requiring as much insulin. Heart disease, the heart is a muscle, so when you're exercising, it is working more effectively. Your veins are also not becoming as stiff. They're also not building as much plaque in the artery, which in my opinion is a problem of hyperinsulinemia, or elevated insulin levels in the body. Many types of cancer is better when you exercise, and that has to do also with lowering blood sugars, and also with lowering your body's requirement on insulin. Because if you think about it, okay, when someone finds out they have cancer, they do something called a PET scan. Well, a PET scan is where they put glucose or sugar in your veins, and then they watch to see what lights up. So cancer is effectively growing in response to sugar. So if we are making our body more sensitive to insulin and making it use sugar and clear it more efficiently, then you can prevent or reduce your risk of certain cancers. So exercise can help with that. High cholesterol, specifically, exercise is good for your HDL, so raising your good protective cholesterol and lowering your triglycerides. It's not as effective at lowering your LDL. That's a different story, different conversation for someone else down the road, but it raises your HDL, lowers your triglycerides, which overall reduces your risk of heart disease and stroke and things down the road. The only other thing that does that, in my opinion, we don't have a drug that raises HDL and lowers triglyceride at the same time. So there's exercise and there's a low carb diet. I've yet to see other things that do that to that cholesterol level. And then hypertension, we already talked about, making your veins more sensitive, more easy to expand and contract, and don't raise your blood pressure quite as much. Skin health was their number 6 type thing. And at first I was like, all right, skin health, maybe it's just because you're feeling better, you've got that glow. No. They actually say, it has to do with the oxygen getting to the skin, helping it to rebuild, helping it to heal, that kind of thing. That they brought out something called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the process in which your body's cells become damaged and it can't defend against those damaged cells. Well, exercise happens to increase antioxidants in the body. So it fights against the oxidative stress so that your skin can heal more effectively and be better. Now, I don't know what that says for these people that have lived outside and farmers their whole life and have the little, really weathered skin. I guess the exercise didn't work for them, but I could see where theoretically, yes, that could help your skin. All right, this is a big one. Brain and memory. It can be very effective for that. And I'm reading a book on longevity right now, and it points this out multiple times that you can see decline in people as they age when they start to become inactive. They retire, they sit down, like they go from an active job to a sitting, or they once were in a bowling league or something and then they quit and they went home and they sat, and all of a sudden the muscles start to deteriorate. And then all of a sudden, hey, is that person getting Alzheimer's? Are they not recalling things quite as much? There's a very strong correlation between activity and vitality of the brain. And that's multiple reasons. One, it is the blood flow to the brain, which we've mentioned several different times. If you're exercising, you're forcing the blood, you're making the brain healthier, you're helping the blood vessels there. But remember, we also talked about exercise helping with insulin resistance. Well, Alzheimer's is frequently referred to as type 3 diabetes. And I've seen it even in people who are not diabetic, but they're all pre-diabetic. And they've got the insulin resistance in the brain. So their body is not utilizing glucose any longer as a fuel source. It is stubborn to listen to insulin, and it develops into memory issues. Now, this is not 100% all cases across the board. There are some very specific types of Alzheimer's disease that are out there, and Lewy body dementias and things like that. But all of them are made worse by insulin resistance, and all of them have, in my opinion, a process in the brain that is related to insulin resistance. And exercise helps that. It makes you more sensitive. So exercise can help you keep your brain alive and active and functioning longer. Number 8, exercise can help with sleep. I want to make it very clear that I do not want you to give up your sleep in order to exercise. And I'm actually going to talk about that on another episode down the road of sleep is vitally important. It is just as important, if not more important, than exercise at times. Don't go from 8 hours of sleep to 7 hours or 6 hours of sleep just to get in the exercise. Find that time somewhere else in the day. However, if you have restless sleep, it's hard for you to get into those deep levels of sleep. You're waking up in the wee hours of the morning, or it's just hard for you to wind down. There's been multiple things in the research out there that have shown that exercise can help that. Now, is it the fix for everybody? No, but it definitely does help. One of the things that they point out is that the increase in body temperature that occurs during exercise is also thought to help improve sleep quality. In other words, you spiked your body temperature with exercise, and then as your body temperature starts to fall, you become sleepier, and a lower body temperature you sleep better in. So exercise can potentially help in that way. Okay. Number 9 is going to be around here somewhere. I may have lost number 9. Oh, pain. Yes. I got my papers out of order. So pain. I hear this multiple times, and I've heard it even multiple times this week, is that pain keeps people from exercising. I have back pain, I have arthritis pain, whatnot. And yes, I totally get that pain can make you not want to exercise. But specifically when we're talking about arthritis, chronic back pain, things like that, lack of activity is going to lead to further pain down the road. The more inactive you are, the stiffer those joints are. They're not going to be as lubricated. They're not getting that rich blood flow in there to heal. So you have to move. That's why physical therapy is so important after you have surgery, because they want to get you rehabbed and they want to get you back going, that kind of thing. So if you're hurting, if you're in chronic pain, I'm not saying if you have chronic back pain, you need to go run 5 miles. That is not where we need to start, but start where you're at and slowly build on that. And it does help. It does help. The longer you sit, the worse it's going to be. And the last one that the article pointed out, and I'm going to brush over it very, very quickly because it's not a topic that I'm going to talk about on air very much, is increased it can promote a better sex life, is what it says. And that has to do with blood flow. That has to do with energy level. It has to do with just general life satisfaction. That's not a topic I'm going to address on the air. I'm pretty sure if my kids even heard me said that, they would duck their heads under their covers or whatnot. But it can, because the blood flow and the energy and the vitality that is there. So I hope those 10 tidbits of how exercise can help might motivate you to want to exercise. Go back and listen to last week's. If you have general questions, your question may be answered there. I think the moral of the story is exercise is important. It's great for health. It's great for vitality. It's great for longevity. And it's something that we can do. Remember that Give and Gobble race that I was talking about? It's on Thanksgiving Day here in Dixon, Tennessee. It's early in the morning. We'll be done with before lunchtime. It's a short 8 weeks away. But you still have time if you want to challenge yourself to get out there. There's the 1 mile walk or run, and then there's the 5K, and you can walk or run either one of those. But it'd be a great challenge for a great cause. If you want to check that out, go to gg5k.org. And that link is also in the show notes. So until next time, take care and get out there and get moving.